In recent years, you've been hearing a word from every possible direction, a word most of us can't really explain. That word is niche.
The niche.
A niche. Your niche.
Your niche. Niche is more niche. More niche.
You are the niche.
You probably know someone who proudly calls themselves niche. You know the type, that unemployed anime enjoyer friend who thinks he's better than everyone because he uses wired headphones instead of AirPods, and who will argue forever that a Serbian film is either a recreation of teens parties or a deep satire on international exploitation. Or at the very least, you've seen one of those vertical videos, some awkward looking dweeb explaining the top 5 no-name cafes in your city that serve that green sludge instead of tea. This, and all of these, is what people call niche. It's a sharp rejection of mainstream trends in favor of very specific narrow interests and style. But why would anyone ditch fun popular culture for some depressing no-name nonsense? Watch this video to the end and you'll understand what it means to be niche, why it became so popular right now, and why everyone is so goddamn sick of it. Smash that like button if you shower at least once a week, and don't forget to comment that I, the creator of this video, am actually just shallow mainstream trash who doesn't know what he's talking about. Niche means little known, not widely popular, but appealing to a small specific group of people. At its core, being niche means having unique interests that stand out from mass culture, while creating a certain vibe of exclusivity around yourself. Sounds modern and cool, right? But the roots of these go deeper than your subscription to that obscure podcast about ceramics. Wanting to stand out from the crowd is completely normal. The desire to be not like the others in humans comes from a psychological need for self-expression, attention, and showing your uniqueness. It's a way to declare your identity, feel important, or cope with dissatisfaction in life. Even your grandpa, who thinks niche has something to do with that 19th century German philosopher, was in a way trying to be niche without even knowing it. That's why during World War II, when he served in the Air Force, he marked his leather jacket with every combat mission he flew. He wanted to stand out among all the other pilots in identical uniforms. That was a personal brand, before the word brand started smelling like Starbucks. Individualism in American culture is based. But speaking of the trend itself, I think it's safe to say the first hints of it appeared back in the 2000s. That's when US media shifted noticeably, being like everyone else became yesterday's news, and everyone is special became the peak of coolness. Just think of cartoons from that era. The hero was often some rebel fighting the system that nobody understood.
I mean, eventually a bird's gotta leave the nest.
We're not birds, we're rats. We don't leave our nests.
And honestly, some people took that way too seriously. That's how we got third wave feminism, LGBT, and Greta Thunberg. But that's a topic for another video. So, the trend is old, just new packaging. Back in the day, attention-starved kids became hipsters and emos. Now, they call themselves niche.
Niche. Niche. Niche.
Niche.
Niche. You are the niche.
Now that we know what this whole movement is about, let's get a clearer picture of who we're dealing with. And that's not so easy. Niche people don't have one loud, obvious cultural code, unlike skinheads or punks. The whole foundation of this movement doesn't allow for becoming a herd. A niche person doesn't want to be a part of a crowd, not even a crowd of other niche people. But for you, I dug through the internet and found the most common things and hobbies that niche people have latched onto. If I miss any popular niche interests you know, write them in the comments. Clothing. They usually prefer thrift stores or second-hand shops. Especially prized, old band t-shirts, vintage denim and tech-wear sportswear. Sadly, they don't always know the difference between timeless classics and outdated rags. So, their outfit often looks like someone sleeps under a bridge in the Skid Row neighborhood. Music, also unpopular. If a niche person isn't listening to Japanese jazz on vinyl because mom didn't buy them a record player, then they're bragging about a post-punk dream pop track with washing machine noise elements that has exactly 1560 plays on Spotify. And of course, we can't forget about wired headphones. Because constantly untangling them after pulling them out of your pocket, that's so cool and unique. The girls will definitely notice you. Movies, same deal. Only a niche person will say with full confidence, if you didn't like that art house film from the 80s shot in someone's garage on a budget of 2 ramen packs with the neighbor's power drill in the background, then you're a mainstream sheep. Pfft, oh my god, you're so shallow. Drinks. Coffee or tea? Starbucks is for corporate slaves. They drink coffee either in obscure hipsters' cafes or make it themselves, obsessing over latte art or experimenting with different ingredients. Tea, usually some puer or Japanese matcha, because Walmart mass market tea is also for corporate slaves. Hobbies. In their free time, when not thrifting, you'll often find them taking photos with an old film camera. And since all of this is about getting attention, everything gets posted on some social network, like Pinterest or Reddit. Okay, we've broken down what this subject looks like, but why have niche people started spawning like crazy recently? And more importantly, why is it cool to be niche instead of a skinhead, emo or some other kind of weirdo? I see 2 answers. First, the hyper-competitiveness of our time. With your pilot grandpa, we already figured out that wanting to stand out isn't new, it's completely natural. People have always wanted to feel special and show it through everyday stuff. But how do you feel special when every damn Instagram influencer owns luxuries you can't even afford in GTA 5? Let's ignore the fact that most of it is rented for the video. Not the point. This is where narrow specialized interests come in. When you can't compete in terms of money, status, cars or looks, you just change the game. You didn't lose, you're just playing a different game, because their game is fake. And meanwhile you win morally, because they bought everything, they're shallow. But me, I have depth. This is a mask. Behind it, a person simply doesn't want to compete in the real world. Being not like everyone else is a convenient way to avoid judgment. They didn't understand me, I'm too deep. And that's why any criticism gets met with, you just don't get it. And each person is always protected. You can be an unemployed slump with empty eyes, but you have your ace in the hole. I'm deep, you're a stupid sheep. Second reason why it's trendy to be niche now, it's way easier to get attention this way than by being a nonconformist. For example, to dress like a punk or a goth, you needed budget or skills. Getting a mohawk and dyeing it, buying a real leather jacket and adding spikes, getting a tattoo or piercing from a decent artist without catching sepsis. That's not easy. Not to mention you might even get the shit kicked out of you on the street for being a weird nonconformist. And Grandpa the pilot had to shoot down an enemy plane in combat and survive. To be niche, you just stock up on old-fashioned rags from thrift store, call it vintage and post a metro selfie with a Franz Kafka book. That's it. But just having the look isn't enough. To get attention as a nonconformist, you had to act like a nonconformist. That takes effort and time. Punks gathered in clubs and fought bouncers. Emos cried together at concerts and slit their wrists. You too, please, I do not condone that. In the age of social media and mass post-Covid loneliness, the need for real actions has faded. To be niche, surrounded by shallow sheep, you just need to listen some 13-year-old side project recorded in his dad's garage, with 2 listeners on Spotify. That's it. No action, just passive consumption, with a smug look on your face like it's some major achievement. This is, in quote-unquote subculture, that masks laziness as mindfulness.
And that's a fact.
And here is where things get really interesting. Why has the hashtag anti-niche blown up? And why are there so many Reddit threads about how sick everyone is of these? You might think it's about difference. Like, people just don't like those who aren't like them. Basic evolutionary mechanism. Tribes survive on trust and predictability. Outsider means threat. But with the niche versus everyone else conflict, the mechanism is different. What really pisses them off is the smug, perpetually displeased face of the subject. And they are smug because you happen to be interested in watching season 5 of The Boys, instead of some French art house film from the 60s with a budget of a bottle of beer. Because it's so deep and meaningful. Being niche isn't an achievement, it's like eye color. So you have green eyes, so what, you think anyone cares? There is no problem with matcha, film photography or vintage clothes. It's totally fine to enjoy obscure things. It feels like they didn't choose a hobby, they chose an excuse to feel superior. Social media gave every insufferable bore a microphone. Back in the day, that guy sat alone in the corner of some hipster burger joint with a sour face. Now, he has TikTok and Instagram, where he explains to his 300 followers why they are better than billion other people. So the original goal, getting attention for being unusual, backfires completely. An arrogant jerk with main character syndrome doesn't create interest. He makes people want to spit in his neat hat. Because he acts like everyone else, it's just background in his movie. If something makes you happy and doesn't break law or basic morals, zero problems. If it does break them, then I'll make another video about that cringe. In the end, these attention starved fools end up in an absurd situation. People try so hard to be overly individual, while most of our lives we're searching for people like us, or who at least compliment us. Alright, time to wrap this up before I overdose on the word niche. Dear niche enjoyers, if you're still watching and didn't turn this off in anger, liking obscure things does not make you better. And liking popular things does not make you less interesting. Just different inputs, different outputs. We're all human, we're all unique in our own way. Being unique in one thing doesn't make you better than others, because we're all unique in something. Basically, we're all niche to some degree. Being niche isn't cringe. What's cringe is being an arrogant, lonely, pathetic dumbass, desperately trying to convince yourself that you like some crap you're not even interested in, and that liking something narrow makes you superior. And honestly, our society has gone from I want to fit in at school to I want to be the most unique guy in town. If you recognize yourself, don't get offended, just change, preferably for the better. This was Cherpak at the mic. Happy Friday, everyone!